Hi, marketers. This is Dots, and welcome to the Marketing Leadership Podcast. With me here is Stefan Maritz, and he is the head of marketing at blackbear. We will discuss reducing B2B marketing cost per acquisition, CPA, by increasing brand awareness in what I call the biggest paradox in the marketing world today. And we are going to break everything down. So, strap in. Stefan, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thanks, and yourself, Dots.
Yeah, sure. It's really an honor having you here. You're doing big things in the B2B world, so keep it up. But in terms of doing big things, tell us a bit about yourself, for those who don't know you, background, role, and how did you rise?
Cool. So wanted to be a lawyer my entire life, believe it or not, and started studying that, only to realize that law is definitely not my thing. Someone told me around when I was 19 years old, maybe you should get into marketing. And I thought, I don't know, let me check it out. I've got nothing better to do with my time. Really fell in love with it, specifically the psychology side around it. Realized this is the world we live in is just marketing everywhere. Everything we do, everything we read, everything we consume. So fell in love with that side. So after studying my undergraduate at Stellenbosch, I did a honors degree. We've got a university in South Africa called Vega that specializes in branding. Absolutely loved it. From there, straight into agencies, Ogilvy, Saatchi, worked on some of the biggest brands, Dell, BMW, Ozek, Quivers, Sky, ICOS, you name it. Other side of the table is where the magic happens. I did like the, cool, we want this, but we don't have budget for that conversation. So since then, I've been running for the greater part of my career for the past few years, basically marketing for tech startups. I really like the startup space, where you have that opportunity to build the brand with the founders, really make the impact, and make that impact with the marketing side. So, yeah, that's pretty much me. Now I'm head of marketing at blackbear in Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's great. And of course, we stalk you a lot on social media and your work. I saw that you mentioned that you're a T-shaped marketer. I have a feeling that there are a few people that do not know what that means or what it means to you. So can you tell us what that means and how that plays into your story here?
Cool. Yeah. So I think I'm predicting this year we're going to call it the full stack marketer. That's what it's changing to now.
Makes sense with your focus on SaaS companies,
Yeah, I think it's marketing teams are being cut left, right, and center. You need one person that could do it all. I guess that's what a T-shaped marketer really is. It's someone that that has a very thorough understanding of a broad range of disciplines, but maybe then specialize in like one or two areas specifically. In my case, that's branding and content. So I always say I'm like a brand first, content second marketeer. Cool, we can run growth ads all you like, but if your brand is not in the right place and your content isn't good, your growth ads are not going to do anything for you. So that's a T-shaped marketer.
Hey there, if you're anything like me, have lots of website traffic, but no idea which ones are window shoppers and which are ready to seal the deal, then I've got a game changer for you. It's Lead Feeder. This is a tool I like using. And what it does is it shows you which companies are coming to your site. You can track their behavior and integrate it with your CRM, which will help take your lead generation efforts to make it more targeted. The result? Convert more website traffic into sales. Head over to leadfeeder.com now for a free demo, and you can also get a free extended premium trial when you let the rep know that you found out about Lead Feeder through the Marketing Leadership Podcast. All right, back to the show. Interesting. Okay, so again, like I said, it's a paradox, right? They're trying to bring revenue by increasing brand awareness, because what we've always been used to is, back in the day, they'll call it direct marketing, and then it became performance marketing, and now we've got brand marketing and demand generation and all these, nice things our patriarch Chris Walker has been talking about, So do you want to really, in your own words, tell us how this transformation has happened? Other patriarchs also that have spoken about this around Fish Came, had him on the podcast. how brand awareness, has now become the beloved. Back in the day, nobody wants to run brand awareness campaigns. Now it is the mother of revenue marketing. Do you have an idea of the history behind that? Is there some realization that marketing leaders finally came up to? Are customers smarter, or is it a combination of everything?
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know it all. Definitely not. I think I can only speak for what I've been observing. And I mean, as someone that's, like I just said, I come from a brand first approach. The vision, the mission, the brand strategy, the essence, the blueprint has to be in place before you put anything on top. I've always had that mindset. And it's been quite interesting to see the industry itself shift, especially the B2B side, because in B2B, it's obviously it almost comes second in most cases. Like, it's this thing that happens as an afterthought. Like, do we really need to build brand awareness? I think I'll get to this a bit later, but there's a very big misunderstanding between brand awareness and building a brand. First of all, but I think it almost feels like over the last year, specifically, there's this, we've got big figures like Chris Walker, you just mentioned him as well, obviously, like voicing his opinion on like the dark funnel and demand generation. These are really like elements that are part of like brand building, which I like to call the perception. So you've got awareness, education, or perception creation, and then conversion. And most of the work really happens in that middle bracket. Just because I'm aware of your brand doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. So no conversion, and you can pay all you like about for conversions, but if I don't understand what value you add, I'm not going to buy. So I think it's a combination of like big voices in the industry talking about this, but also the world we live in. Third-party data is changing by the minute. Google is pulling back in a heavy sense. Remarketing is not yielding the same results it did, 2-3 years ago. The way digital ads run are changing, and on top of that, bring AI into the mix, and all of a sudden, everyone and their mom and their dog can make relatively decent content. So, what I like to call fast content is now, flooding the internet on every single corner. There's more content than ever. People have attention spans that are shorter than ever, and there's less marketing budget than ever before. So what you have now is it's harder and harder to really get out there. And I think there's a strong notion that like, oh damn, if people don't know what we're doing, they don't know what we're doing, and they're never going to buy. So it's just this almost like this industry-wide realization that brand matters again. And I think if you look at the news, you see a lot of like chief brand officer positions popping up at very, very big names. And I think that's like kind of testament to the big shift that's happening. It's like big brands are realizing, oh, the brand is actually more important than the marketing. The marketing is merely the way to get it out there. Yeah. I think it's magical, but it's definitely happening. And I think the brands that move and move fast are ones that are going to be the ones that get out on the top after this. Because if you're still just pushing ads for conversions, you're just going to fall behind.
I love that. Your reply there was almost like an ode, before you get into a match and play. Because, again, just to reiterate, actually, just to add, the road is not going to be easy. So, yes, there are chief brand officers out there, but it's not an easy job, because you probably will spend your entire time managing expectations. That's almost going to be your job description. And that's just because, again, the people at the top need to get used to the aspect of planting seeds and reaping it 6 months from now, or reaping it 9 months from now. And, just taking a chill pill on everything in terms of the expectations for revenue and all these other KPIs that we are obsessed with. You ready to add something to that?
Yeah, just it's the hardest thing, right? Everyone wants quick wins from marketing, but branding is a long game. Rome was not built in a day.
Exactly. Rome was not built in a day, and we are not magicians, so brands are not built in a day too. While I was preparing for this, I came across a research from Boston Consulting Group, and they sort of looked at 4 levels of digital marketing maturity. Nascent, we are beginning, emerging, things are wrapping up,
differentiating. We are starting to get into the big leagues and amplifying, which is the big leagues. The reason why this is coming into the fall really is when it comes to B2B brand building, again, it's a long game. And this probably their own attempt at breaking the steps all over this long game to achieve some product market fit. Is this something you agree with, or you've got your own, framework on how to get to the promised land, with cost per acquisition reduction and still having brand awareness in the bag?
First of all, do I agree? 100%. I wasn't actually familiar with this particular study, but it was quite interesting to just go through. I think the essence is that they basically suggest the more known a brand is, the better the marketing return on investment is on the other side. Now, basically this comes 100% agree with it. So let's unpack it a little bit. There's no kind of silver bullet here to what you have to do, right? Building a brand takes time. To me, there's three pillars at the end of the day. When someone buys something, I'm aware of it. Awareness doesn't mean much. Awareness doesn't build a brand. Just because I am aware that something exists doesn't mean that I know anything about it, for instance. Or there's any need for me to buy it right now. There might be a need in the future, but I don't even know that it really serves the need. So just plain awareness on its own is nothing. Then there's the pillar of kind of education and perception, which is where the magic really happens. This is repetition on what we do, why you should trust us, and how we really help you with whatever that specific need is. It's creating the perception in the mind of the consumer to believe that I've got a problem, and to solve this problem, this company that I am aware of is one of the best ones to go with. That perception costs a lot of money and takes the most time to do. And then on the far side, there's obviously the conversion. The day when I do need whatever you're selling, I will come buy it. But if the first two are not in place, the conversion is almost impossible. It's like, I always like telling the story of, if you're hungry, you're in a city you've never been, you're in a street, and you can smell food, and there's a pizza restaurant somewhere, but there's no sign. If you don't see the sign, you won't go in.
Yeah.
If there's a sign that says this is the best pizza in the world, and it's the only option you have, you immediately have the perception that there's good pizza here, but you're not going to trust that it's good pizza until you tried the pizza. Yeah. So when you do go in and you eat the pizza, damn, it is good pizza. Now you've got the perception, you've got the experience, everything, and now the brand has taken form in your mind, and it's very easy to convert. In fact, you will help others convert. You will maybe run Google review, you will maybe tell your friends that next time you're in the city, there's a restaurant in this little Erin Road where I found myself, I was hungry, I had pizza. So to get back to the model is, and Boston Consulting Group specifically focuses this at digital marketing, right? So the more ads you run, obviously, the more people will see what you're doing, the more aware they will be of what you're doing. But also, if you're doing it right, they will be educated on what you are doing. That's that's kind of the important thing. So back to, do I agree with their model? 100%, because if I have a problem, I know a company exists that solves that problem, and over the past year, I didn't buy, I wasn't ready, but I get to the point, I was educated on what they do, maybe by the founder, maybe by the brand itself, maybe I follow them, maybe I see a podcast somewhere, maybe I watch a webinar, maybe I see them at an event. The education part really is what creates that maturity. And if my belief is that this brand can solve my problem, then I'm willing to convert. And naturally, that is what that model is based on. So the more famous the brand is, which is obviously the peak of kind of brand awareness, the more likely I'm to walk through the door and buy what they are selling, because I believe it's going to solve my problem.
Interesting. And just to add that, you mentioned something about perception, right? So there is a positive and there is a negative perception. There is Stefan. and there is this podcast. So I just gave you two different voices or talk or interactions that are, one is crappy, the one is quality conversation. So definitely, if you're listening, the awareness needs to be there, but the awareness needs to be good, needs to be valuable, right? In B2B is a world of egos, right? You're helping the marketers hit their target and get better bonuses. You're helping yourself, you're helping your employees. So you need to, create the best experience possible. I think the experience is the perception, because you have solved the problem or you solved it in a great way, an unforgettable way, just as Stefan had, described it. Also in the communication as well, you are communicating, again, not Stefan, there I am, here you are. Oh, Stefan, here I am, here you are. No, it is Stefan, we want to help you do this and that. Oh, Stefan, happy birthday. We can help you do this and that. And there's expansion revenue in there or lifetime value and so on and so forth. Where am I coming as Stefan? That will be the last time I'll mention your name for now. B2B communication is boring. Even the brand awareness initiatives are boring. Yes, we've started cutting fruits now. Maybe I'll start cutting lobsters myself, but it's still boring. What are some of the creative, messaging approaches? You mentioned channels at the other time, podcasts, blah, 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 and so on. So let's assume our people know that, those listening or watching. In terms of the communication messaging strategy in itself, how can we as B2B marketers break away and really enjoy the brand awareness world or the demand generation world and get out from all this, people copying similar headlines on their websites, for example. We don't want to go into the details of brands, but when you see some, you're just like, oh my God. Anyway, I'll let you shoot now. I'll stop talking.
Yeah, so what you're really describing there is you mentioned something that how B2B, it's about helping the person, helping the company, helping them, be better at their job, have better conversations. That is what we refer to in branding as a self-expressive benefit, right? So if you buy a Mercedes, it is because, well, I like the status that comes with the car. Not necessarily that it's a bad car. The functional car is good, but in B2C brands, there's a lot of status sometimes involved. No one pays 2,000 euros for a Gucci handbag because it's functional. Let's be real. There's a lot of alternative options. In B2B, it works a little bit differently. Maybe it needs to cut costs. Maybe it allows me to deliver better results. Maybe it gets me a promotion. Maybe I need this piece of software or this service to really boost the productivity of my team. Self-expressive benefits in the world of B2B look way different, but they're way stronger because they're directly tied to a person's job, career, and oftentimes monetary incentives. So to really play into that, obviously you have to mention the functional benefits. Like, I can help you cut the bottom line, or I can help you do this faster, or blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, getting to your second part of that question, how do you make this non-boring? To me, it really sits in thought leadership. And thought leadership is a very broad term that nowadays almost get used for everything. But when you really think about thought leadership, it comes to adding value to that person. There's a reason. So if I'm in the business of, I'm quickly going to, I think SEMrush is a good example here. SEMrush is exceptional at adding value to their audience. They educate people the whole time. It's not that their content is, yes, they post the occasional meme and it's funny because it resonates with me as a marketer. But at the end of the day, every piece of small content that goes out from SEMrush is tailored to make their audience better at their job. It's free advice, it's free tips, and there's a lot of brands that do that very well. Chris Walker, once again, Chris just gives free advice the whole time. Why do people trust Chris? Because Chris talks sense, and it's just a video of a guy talking on the internet most of the time, but most marketers listen to him and they believe what he's saying because they believe that listening to him make them better at their job. And there's obviously a lot of characters like that out there. There's copious amounts of them. For brands to do this themselves, it's hard. That's why what you're also seeing nowadays is there's a lot of rise of the personal brand. The founders, the CEOs, is kind of like really manning the heavy content. And that value and non-boring, as you phrased it, comes through the essence of adding value. And adding value is obviously different for each product and industry and audience. But it's the notion of giving real value out for free and building trust. Now, back to those 3 pillars of branding, I'm aware you exist, but the education and the perception happen based on the content that you put out there. That demand generation is building trust. It's winning me over as a customer, or as an audience, as someone who's willing to listen to you. But when you put content out there, I willingly tune in and I absorb what you're telling me. And if I do this enough times, in the back of my mind, where am I going to go if I need a growth agency? Chris Walker. It's fairly simple.
Yeah.
Or Refine Labs, or what's their name? It's like, I mean,
Refine Labs. Yeah,
almost comes second. But to just summarize that, it's to make things not boring is to add real value, give people a legitimate reason to follow what you're doing. And occasionally, obviously, you can say what you do and the functional benefits, but real value, and figure out how to do that. And that is how you build strong brands.
Yeah, that's true. And I also give credit to those at Directive as well, the Directive Consulting. They've got the Mr. Team, the fruit cutter. As at the recording of this video, I think he had left. But even on Directive's website as well, they've got a bunch of like free resources that people can look at and things like that. And all the other big shots agency out there, metadata and so on and so forth. Sorry if you're not mentioning your brand. This is not sponsored.
This is not sponsored, yeah.
Yeah, it's not sponsored. But the point really is providing. I like what you said, Stefan, about the word real. It's all about that. I personally have not stand for transparent marketing strategies. And what does that mean? That means delivering real value. I have been again thinking about myself, looking at pipeline versus revenue. What should marketers think about the most? 99% of people talk about pipeline these days, but we all know that pipeline is not, again, real money, right? Another topic for another day, but you see where I am at. I love that word real. That's what real. You can't be the savior of everyone as a marketer, but wherever you are, wherever lane you are, make sure you are delivering the most tangible commercial value possible, and doing that through brand awareness, and see the magic that does. Because of course it's supposed to reduce your cost per acquisition once you mature. Even before you mature, it's really the dream here. Guys, if you've been following this podcast, you can see how we try to talk about common aspects to common questions, maybe poke a little fun at a few people and giving them free airtime. However, please just subscribe. It's what helps us a lot to keep this going. You've recorded tons already. Share, most importantly to me, or leave a review. Whatever it is to get this content out there. This topic is very, very, very important in the world of demand generation. How brand awareness is able to increase for B2B. I dare say D2C as well, because actually it's a borrowed concept from D2C. Yeah. So it's reducing the cost per acquisition through that. You don't reduce cost per acquisition by just talking at somebody, which is what I did with the name Stefan 10 times in 2 seconds. It's providing real value. Is what did you call the term again? Expression of I think you called it expression of value or proposition or something like that. You were describing a term in how people should communicate when they're trying to show value from a brand awareness perspective. There was expression in the word anyway, but
building perception.
Yes. So it's in all that, it's a long game, and you got free resources. I think that's one of the biggest things out there. It's easy for you to just say, Stefan said something, and a marketing leader may trust you ahead of Stefan. So it is what it is. So great job on the B2B front, folks like yourself, talking really about this. I have one more question, Stefan, for you. But before then, it's the Dots Rapid Fire. And before that is a quick word from our sponsor. So if you are listening, don't go anywhere. The phone is just about to start. And we will be coming back to wrap this up with some fun and finishing up our thoughts here. But it's the Marketing Leadership Podcast. And I am here with Stefan Maritz. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. So, the Dot Rapid Fire, I call it two things: the marketing court of law or the hot marketing kitchen. Choose your poison. So, 3 questions. Say the truth and nothing but the truth. Are you ready?
Go.
Okay. What's your best marketing metric? And I don't want to hear sales or revenue.
My best marketing metric or my favorite marketing metric?
Favorite, yeah.
Favorite. I love seeing organic traffic and direct traffic to a website increase. Basically, the direct result of building brand awareness. More people coming through the door looking for me.
Yeah, that's true. It's really the pinnacle, right? I often in my strategies use it's probably an old tool, Google Trends, as a means to gauge brand awareness, which is somehow connected to search, SEO, and all this other organic stuff. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Okay. The next question: how long do you use social media every day?
I do really think about this. I think 1 to 2 hours, if I put it all together. I spend quite some time on LinkedIn, but not that much. Depending on whether I'm posting or not, or just consuming, but 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, probably in the 1 hour range myself. You just gotta be there, right? And it's not just about posting. You have to post a comment on somebody's post that hopefully gets pinned by a lot of people. So, okay, last question. What is your favorite marketing quote?
Marketing is like asking someone on a date. Branding is the reason they say yes. And don't ask me who said that.
That is no, no, I don't care. I wish I've got an emoji that just does thank you. I was thinking this guy better give me something. I wasn't really expecting the quote. I'm like, this guy better give me something on dating or marriage. Because yes, it's always like that. Like, yeah, my wife currently, she's somewhere in the other room. I tell people, like, I had to formulate a campaign to get her for more than 2 years. So it's a long game. Back to what you said. It is a long game. And then you get married, it's then the fight for retention. So it is the long game, guys. Love that. Really, really on point. Last question. This is probably the spiciest of it. So if you've jumped out, you're probably going to miss. Budget. We are recording this in January of 2024, where this conversation will be hot. Any company in the world. And the current, I guess, movement is that we need to take budget from the guys of performance marketing and allocate to brand marketing or brand awareness or increase everybody's budget. Whatever it is, brand marketing needs more budget. How, like, I don't want to say what is the percentage range in terms of performance versus brand. What I would say is, what are the skills that you guys have used, whether it's on the client side or the agency side, that is able to convince leadership to invest more in brand awareness?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think there's 2 things there.
That's a great question, right?
I do want to touch on the budget first.
Okay.
I think there's the most important notion here is people oftentimes think when you ask this question, how much money am I spending on cold layer on LinkedIn or on Facebook or, top level grabbing attention on Google? A cold layer marketing level is not the same as building a brand. Yes, you might have a brand awareness advert in there as the big platforms labeled it, and then we all know you get the cheap, what they call impressions, because sometimes bots, you don't really know what you're doing. That is not building a brand. That is, yes, someone might see your ad and they might take note, and there might be a form of awareness, but ultimately that is not how you build a brand. So I really want to put that out there. Yeah. When it comes to really branding, I like to look at the actual message. So not necessarily where it sits in the funnel, because you can have brand ads in remarketing as well. So just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So you can have a cold layer ad that introduces your brand and your product. This is who we are, this is the problem we solve, this is what we stand for. But you can also have a brand ad that sits much like more to the bottom of the funnel, where you have a video testimonial of a customer speaking about your brand. That is also branding. In fact, that is a more powerful brand advert in the world of digital marketing than a simple, cold layer. Hey, look at this. Here we go. So what I always like to say is it's important to understand how you break that spend up between brand messaging and cold layer versus like remarketing. So naturally, obviously, the rule of thumb is like to spend at least 30% on brand awareness. But if you really start analyzing your message, you can get much closer to like 40 to 50% on brand messaging. So if you're going to put your brand in front of someone, and back to you saying my name 1,000 times, make sure that at least 50% of your budget is actually spent building the brand. So even if it seems like a standard digital ad that you're running for the sake of, retargeting an audience that visited your website or your landing page, build brand instead of just pushing, hey, get a free consultation today. It's not necessarily what's going to get you. So those bring the brand narrative in and make sure that at least half of your budget, especially moving forward from this year, is spent on providing either value or building perception. And building perception is not you speaking about yourself. That is either giving away free advice, decent content, whether that's from the brand page or from the founder page or from the CEO page or the top leadership, really providing expert advice, or, someone talking about your brand, mentioning good things, shaping that perception. I would say 40 to 50%.
Yeah, makes sense. And guys, podcast is at the top of some of these things. And just scroll back to, if you're watching, there's a commercial out there, just scroll back for that shameless plug, and we can definitely help you out. Okay, Stefan, I really love the context. I love the way you sort of broke it down, why brand awareness is even different in this way, which I guess is why people are trying to stay away from that spammy blast part of the brand awareness and say it's demand generation. But honestly, demand generation is still brand awareness. So I get it. And thanks for giving us the range as well, from up to 50%. So basically up to half of everything else, which is awesome to hear. Guys, it's been really fun having Stefan on. Thank you so much. We want to get more of this. Again, you say you provide free wisdom, great wisdom. Where can marketers follow you to see this?
Mostly LinkedIn. And then I've got a website. It's a little side project. There we go. Once in a while, I post something there. I'll post like the longer content over there, and any free templates or anything someone might need. I like giving away things for free. It makes people better at their jobs. But mostly LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I'm quite active.
Thank you so much for that. And for you listeners, thank you so much for listening. You can find more of this at dotslovesmarketing.com. And you want to subscribe. It's the Marketing Leadership Podcast. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, and it's on YouTube. Speaking of brand awareness, I'd like to thank Desk Creek and Content Allies for their support. in moving B2B demand generation forward. Also, to top it off is listennetwork.co, where you are building brand to that mature level. You're getting your podcast content to as many relevant eyes as possible. Just check it out. It's called listennetwork.co. We help you take it from bigger to biggest. Till next time, connect the dots.